Okay, so let's talk about our final project of the semester and, drum roll, of the school year. That's right, the Collaborative Multimodal Project, the CMP. Okay, let's see, multimodal composition. I'm not going to lie, I just restarted this screencast because I went on a very long tangent about the ideas that are behind multimodal composition. So I'm going to give it to you in, a much more boiled down fashion. Multimodality was a very hot topic over 10 years ago, and it's kind of made its way back into the mainstream. So we've been teaching this assignment or assignments like this for so long that the ideas have sort of boomeranged back into relevance, which is very lucky for you and for me. So what does multimodality mean? Well, it's right there in the word. If you break it down, multi means many, and modal is a form of the word mode. So it's many modes, okay? And you think about all the ways things can sort of arrive at you. Okay, they are, they're audio, visual, of course, and visual gets broken down a bit more to photographs, drawings, text, animation. We could add to that. Basically, any visual and audio elements, how those things can combine. It's not just video, it's not just audio, sort of like a screencast. It's sort of both, right? So you're hearing things and watching them. It's almost, I'll say it's elegant and not simplistic, but if it sounds simplistic, you're probably not too far off either. There are some important ideas that ground it. There are theories out there that help us understand the potential of multimodality. We're not going to get into those as much in this class because in my experience, students like yourselves are already doing a lot of these things. So do we always have to sort of overanalyze and become sort of, one of the bigger terms in my field right now is metacognition, thinking about thinking or knowing about knowing. You already know about this stuff, so why make you know more? Why make you know that you know about it? I guess sometimes we can leapfrog that aspect. So for the most part, podcasts, blogs, collages, video and audio essays, comic strips, and storyboards. Those are the most common final products that I get, and so I'll have more to say about that later on. So for your, let's talk nuts and bolts. 3 to 5 students, you know that 3 to 4 is my preference, but 3 to 5 is a nice number. I'll say more about this in the week 12. Let's see, that's week 13. The week 12 screencast that I'm going to make. It's not going as well as I would like. I'll have more to say about the nuts and bolts of that, but you're going to create a multimodal project that makes, there's that word again, an argument about technology. That's why I said with the research essay that if you kept your focus on tech, you could probably use some of your primary research for this very assignment. So there is a really important note that I'm going to have to repeat a couple of times over the weeks, but your goal isn't to just take a quarter of everybody's research essay, smush them together, and call that an argument. There needs to be more finesse to it. There needs to be some new ideas, and so I'm going to be, as of this recording, I haven't graded any research essays yet, but by the time I grade your CMP, I'm going to be very conversant in your research essay topics, and as a result, I'll be on the lookout for this sort of lazy work. Okay, let's see what else from here. You can read all this. You'll choose the format that is rhetorically appropriate, and you will create some new research for it as well. If your group decides to conduct a survey to your classmates, again, that's a tried and true and reliable method. If you want to perform some sort of observation or sort of personal social experiment like the observation essay or like the digital detox assignment asked you to do, that's awesome too. So don't lose track of the argumentative aspects of this assignment. You need to change minds, influence behavior, speculate, propose, evaluate, all the basics of creating an argument, creating space for disagreement. Okay, so what else? So you know what argument is by this point, and if you don't, chances are you didn't pass the research essay and you're not watching this. So what else can I tell you? Your project will play independent of you. You're not just going to make a Prezi that I'm going to click through. I mean, you can do that. You're not going to pass. This is a big important essay or big important assignment. So you're going to create something that is freestanding. Lots of ways to interpret that, but I'd say a large percentage of the time, maybe not 99, but somewhere close, this is a video project for most classes. So make this a little more visually palatable. Okay, so I'm not going to get too into the examples because you can get into them yourself. Why is this a different font? Don't you? I just can't stand it. Editing in action. Very exciting time for you. Let's see. That's still not working. Okay, so the let's see. Is that it? Okay, forget it. Let's see. I have a spreadsheet of sample collaborative essays. Can I move this? Yeah, there we go. It's right over here. Really cool voice thread. I'll have more to say about voice thread later on. A couple of cool ones, actually. Let's see. So Vimeo, Animoto. There are lots of digital options out there. So you can make your way through some samples before you really settle on a format. Outside of our work together, this is Jeannie Parker Beard, who does quite a very similar thing in her classes. And so her spring 2018 from last year, these comp videos are they're pretty good. We're not going to play them because I've heard that creates for a weird screencasting experience. But the problem with science, veganism, so it's subjects that are maybe a little different from what you'll be dealing with, but the spirit of the assignment is very in the same vein as what you're all working through. Okay, so click through these. There's text, video, text is cool. It's one where like the instructor, the professor, the teacher is a part of the process, which is not something that I get to do, unfortunately, although I would love to. But it's another example of a multimodal comp. So you have lots of options. All right. If your group chooses to complete a CMP on a non-technology related topic, no worries, but just let me know. Okay. So let's see. Format. A video essay, like I said, is by far the most popular option. Boy, I've been getting a lot over the last couple of years, like simulated newscasts, and I can see how that format sort of works. Where there's, if you want to, conduct interviews, say as your primary research, well, it would be wonderful if you recorded those videos, of course, and then the newscasters at the desk, in studio, they can kind of throw to the interview, and like kind of it works like segments, just like a news show does. So that's been, like I said, a very popular one, and it's succeeded quite a bit in the past. There have been times where it hasn't, but that's, I think, more has to do with the students that created them than the format itself. An online presentation that is in no way simplistic. So you want to do a Prezi or a PowerPoint or a Powtoon for this, go right ahead. Average grades, get C's. C means average. So live action or animated short film, I'm here for that. You wanted to have one. We'll talk more about the aspects of the assignment as you begin creating them, but you're going to want to have like text on screen as well, so it can't just be like a straight up like visual like short film. There will be you'll have the expectation will be that you'll provide research to supplement, to support, to help scaffold your unique argument. So that's, as long as you don't lose that aspect of it, I think film artistic expressions are a great way to accomplish an argument if done within the parameters of the assignment. Okay, there is a whole list. This should look familiar to you by now. Scooch this over. Oh no, I guess I don't have to. So these are just my most I do look around for new stuff all the time, and this is my most recent list of acceptable online presentation formats or software options. So iMovie and Movie Maker are those you have to pay for. If you have them on your laptop already, or if you have access to either of those are probably your best way through. Screencastify, of course, Screencast-O-Matic that I'm using now. Genially is really fun. Yeah, I hope you'll at least check it out and make yourself aware of Genially as an option. Elementario is cool for like digital storyboarding, which can be like a component of your CMP. It might not be the end product, but something down around those, through those options, you'll find something. Okay, what else? Okay, so this is sort of like a rough set of criteria that your CMP should accomplish by the time I'm grading it, by the time we're just about done for the semester. It needs to be self-playing. I said that already, but you need to send me a link that I click play, I click start, whatever, and it just goes. Okay. Let's see. A clear research question, just like you've done or are currently doing as of this recording for your research essay. Include and analyze primary research data and also outside sources. So 7 sources altogether, primary and secondary, need to be provided and cited in some way. Lots of CMPs use the end credits as like their their citations, which is a nice kind of fun option. Let's see, be rhetorically, linguistically, culturally, all that stuff. Adhere to academic conventions. What else? An intro, a body, and a conclusion. So you need to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like anything that really exists that's self-playing. It needs to be 8 minutes long. So you need to take up 8 minutes of my time by encountering your argument. I don't have a maximum for that. You can go as long as you like. I'll watch all of it. I promise. Just like I'll read every page that you write for me. But I do enforce the minimums like any other assignment. Okay. Be interesting. It doesn't have to be fun because many groups choose sort of, I don't know, solemn topics, dour topics. And that's completely, you're right. So you don't have to be fun. Fun is nice if it suits your subject matter, but interesting is interesting. So be interesting to watch. Just like I want you to be interesting to read. I want you to be interesting to watch. We'll talk. The individual reflective essay is just like another way for me to understand what went on in the CMP groups themselves, who did what and who didn't do what, and how the group cohered and gelled, and then the other part of the reflection is like your performance in college comm. So if this sounds similar to last year, well, that's for a reason, or last semester. It's so that you take that long view, look back on your performance in this class. And if you want to go all the way back to August, if we've been working together that long, go right ahead. Now this is something you might want to print off, but I do. My department is skittish when it comes to having rubrics that are qualitative in nature. So I do put point totals in here. I reserve the right not to use them, in terms of applying you get a 15 out of 15 because it's 8 minutes long. That's tough for me to quantify in some ways, but these are the things I'm going to be looking at as I grade your final product. So the time, how timely it is, intro, the thesis and focus is clear, examples, seamless integration of sound, design, whatever that is, whether that's songs or sounds or the use of narration, how well it's timed in terms of editing choices, images and sounds, how they are they rhetorically applicable? If you're just using sort of the first image that comes up on Google image search, is that the most applicable use of your time, or my time really? Color, sound, song. So I really like this aesthetic one. I wish I got to grade on aesthetic qualities a little more often because I do consider myself sort of, I'm aesthetically very picky, and I don't get to be like that in my professional life as much as I'd like. I'm very picky about the music that plays in the, in the car as we go, as my family goes on a road trip. And so I do like to enforce aesthetics a little bit here. Audience, context, purpose, that's every argument that ever existed. At least 1 primary research data results in 6, overall other pieces. So 7 cited sources, including primary research. And remember, you don't have to have it in a references page. You can be creative with that. Critical and analytical thought, and closure and ending. So hopefully that speaks for itself. That's, I believe, you can check my math, please, but I believe that adds up to 100. So there you go. The Collaborative Multimodal Project hopefully is a very fun way for us to wrap up our time this semester and this school year. And as you know, if you have any questions, I want them. All right, thank you.